Hello everyone, it's Mariana here from Positive and Possum. Welcome back to my channel. Now that you are more familiar with how you can properly introduce your migraine scent sample to your dog and how you can start developing your dog's nose through Define the Command, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should definitely make sure to watch my previous videos. Let's cover in this video though, the next step of scent training by showing how your dog can start identifying and smelling all by himself the migraine sample in your hand. I'll also be going over the 5 things you should pay attention to in this essential stage of scent training. If you're new here and are getting value from this video, please make sure you click on that thumbs up as it really helps me keep this channel going. Now let's get into it. What we want the dogs to successfully accomplish here is to have the initiative to come and sniff the target odor in your hand. So let's break this down into small steps. Step 1, when it is your dog's meal time, wash your hands with unscented soap and take 5 to 10 minutes to go to the middle of the neutral training room, holding the scent sample in the palm of one hand against your leg without saying you're doing anything, as we want the dog to make dissociations and learn on his own. Remember that I mentioned in my migraine scent sample collection video that scent samples will last for up to 3 periods of 5 minutes outside of the freezer, and if you don't leave any residues with other smells on them, right? This piece of information comes in handy here. If it doesn't ring a bell at all, make sure to watch my previous video on how to collect a reliable scent sample as a refresher. So here, you'll patiently stand and wait until the dog comes over and sniffs the sample that you're discreetly holding. Some dogs might be fast and others might take longer, but he should eventually come over and sniff, especially because your dog should now be familiar with your migraine scent. Have a clicker and a small bit of food or treats in the hand you're not holding the sample on, and exactly at the moment when the dog sniffs the aid, you click and then reward by bringing the closed hand with the food to the top of the closed hand holding the sample, and I will open the hand with the food for the dog to eat, keeping it on top of the closed hand holding the sample. And then you'll praise the dog with lots of enthusiasm while he eats a couple of the kibbles or the treat that you provide him with, just like this. To repeat this exercise every single time the dog sniffs the sample until all the food is gone or all of the treat is gone, making for about 10 to 15 reward repetitions. Aim to have as many repetitions as you can while the dog is interested. And again, as soon as the dog stops consistently responding with a lot of interest, usually around like the 10-minute mark, that's when you should finalize the training session. Never force your dog to keep going once he gets tired, because we always want to keep training a positive, fun, and exciting experience for the dog. Stick to this initial training for about 7 days, ideally twice a day, but at least once a day, until your dog feels totally comfortable with this training step. Here are 5 things to look out for at this stage of training. First, you want to move around the room a little bit, but always be sure to maintain the exact same standing position and only feed and praise your dog when he actually sniffs your hand with the sample. For that, you need to be fully attentive to the side of your dog's nostrils. If they are moving, it means the dog is sniffing, and that's when you should click and reward. Second, remember to always keep your hand holding the food on top of the hand holding the sample, so the dog starts connecting, smelling the scent with the food reward. Third, and this only applies to owners of smaller dogs, you should train this stage on the top of a table with a little mat or towel underneath the dog for greater comfort and for you to be able to see if the dog is really sniffing. Fourth, If after a couple of minutes of training to get the dog to sniff the sample for the first time, your dog is hungry but continues to completely ignore you and the scent, don't say you give him anything and go back to your normal activities. Try again 30 minutes later, and your dog should no longer ignore you this time. However, as mentioned in one of my previous videos, if your dog is having difficulties, he's completely unresponsive after 5 attempts at this early stage, it is a strong indication that he's not a good fit to become a service dog. And at this point, I would strongly encourage you to contact a professional service dog trainer in your area that can see the dog and talk to you in person before giving up for good. And fifth, as always, make sure to always do with your dog their favorite activity for a couple of minutes after the training session is over, such as playing fetch or tug of war. Lastly, just so you have an idea of where we're going next, when your dog is working well at identifying and smelling the sample in your hand, the next step will be to withhold the reward for a couple of seconds, and that will last for about 4 training sessions. The dog will offer the expected behavior like before, but he'll start to get a little frustrated with the fact that you're no longer rewarding him right after. So the dog will start providing other behaviors to get you to reward him. And as soon as he either comes back to sniffing the sample or he doesn't provide any new behaviors and just keeps insisting on sniffing the sample in your hand, you should click and reward him with many pieces of his favorite treat while enthusiastically praising him with a "yes, good boy." And do this only once and end the session. That's gonna last, as I mentioned, for 4 times. And of course, you should make sure to do your dog's favorite activity for a couple of minutes after the end of the session. 4 short sessions like these will be our transition before we start testing your dog's abilities to really recognize your migraine scent by introducing your control sample. And as always, if you like this video and think it's worth your thumbs up, make sure to watch my next videos and also hit that subscribe button, as it really helps me get this channel going. Thanks a lot and see you soon.